Every single morning, you do the same things without thinking twice. You turn on your bathroom top, splash water on your face, walk to the kitchen, grab a pan off the hook, and later in the day, you throw on a cup before heading out. 3 completely ordinary objects, 3 things you've used hundreds of times without ever once wondering where they came from or what it actually took to make them. Today, that changes. We're going inside 3 different factories: a nonstick frying pan factory, a baseball cap factory, and a bathroom faucet factory. And we're watching exactly how each one gets made from start to finish. And I'll tell you right now, by the time this video ends, you're going to look at all 3 of these things completely differently. Let's get into it. We start in the frying pan factory, and the first thing that surprises most people is just how involved this process actually is. A finished nonstick pan feels light and simple in your hand. You grab it, cook your eggs, wash it, put it back. But getting it to that point requires multiple stages of metal forming, surface treatment, and precision coating that have to happen in exactly the right sequence, because if any single stage goes wrong, the whole thing fails. It starts with aluminum. Almost every modern nonstick pan is made from aluminum because it's lightweight, conducts heat better than most metals, and is far easier to shape than steel. Large sheets of aluminum arrive at the factory and get fed into stamping presses, machines applying thousands of tons of pressure that punch out flat circular blanks of the exact right diameter for each pan size being produced. Those blanks then move into deep drawing presses, where a series of dies progressively push and pull the flat disc into the familiar pan shape. The sides come up, the base flattens out, the form takes shape over multiple pressing stages. This has to be done gradually because aluminum gets stiffer and more resistant the more it's worked. Push it too aggressively in one stage and it cracks. So the forming is slow, controlled, and sequential. Once the pan shape is there, excess metal around the rim gets trimmed away, and the edge gets finished so it's perfectly even all the way around. But the surface at this point is rough and scratched from all the tooling, nowhere near ready for cooking. So the pan goes through serious surface preparation. Mechanical polishing smooths everything out, and then a chemical treatment cleans the aluminum at a microscopic level, creating exactly the right surface chemistry for the nonstick coating to grip onto permanently. This step is more important than most people think. Skip it or do it poorly, and the coating peels off within weeks, no matter how well everything else was done. The nonstick coating, a PTFE-based material, the same family as Teflon, goes on in multiple layers through a spray process. First, a primer coat gets sprayed across the entire interior surface evenly. Then the pan goes into a curing oven, where that layer gets baked on at high temperature and bonds to the aluminum permanently. Then a mid-coat, then a top coat. Each one sprayed, then cured, building up the final coating thickness gradually. One thick single application would bubble and crack during curing. Thin layers built up one at a time is what gives you a coating that actually lasts. After the final cure, coating hardness and adhesion get tested. Handles get riveted on, the exterior gets its finish, and every single pan goes through a final inspection before it leaves the factory. Now we move into something completely different, the baseball cap factory. And if you've ever looked at a finished cap and assumed it was a simple thing to produce, the process will genuinely change your mind. It starts with fabric. Cotton twill, wool, polyester, performance materials, whatever the order calls for. Large rolls arrive, and the first job is cutting. Every cap needs 6 crown panels, a brim, a sweatband, a back closure piece, a button for the top, and eyelets for the side panels. Every single piece gets cut to exact dimensions because any variation, even a few millimeters, shows up as misalignment on the finished cap and is immediately visible to anyone looking at it. Crown panels go to the sewing lines, where operators join them together in a specific order. 2 panels stitch together, then 2 more, then the halves come together to form the full crown. Every seam has to be straight, consistent, and sewn at the right tension. Too loose and it opens under stress. Too tight and the fabric puckers and distorts. The brim gets constructed separately, a fabric cover sewn around a stiff internal board that gives the bill its rigidity, then attached to the crown in one of the most precise operations in the whole process, because that join point is highly visible on the finished product. After the basic structure is assembled, the cap goes onto a head-shaped forming block where steam gets applied to shape the crown and set the fabric into its final three-dimensional form. This is what gives a cap its clean, structured look, rather than appearing like a floppy piece of sewn fabric. Eyelets get punched in, the sweatband gets sewn inside, the closure system gets attached at the back, the button gets sewn on top. Then it goes through a quality check before moving to embroidery, computerized machines stitching logos and designs onto the front panels with a consistency and precision that no human hand could replicate at scale. Final inspection, tagging, bagging, and it's done.
Third stop, the bathroom faucet factory. And this one is the most technically demanding of the three by a significant margin. Faucet has to contain water under pressure, seal without leaking, resist corrosion for potentially decades, and operate smoothly through thousands and thousands of cycles. Every part of the manufacturing process is built around meeting those demands.
Most faucet bodies are cast from brass, a copper and zinc alloy that machines precisely, seals reliably, and holds up against corrosion better than almost anything else at this price point. Molten brass gets poured into molds or injected under pressure in a die casting operation, forming the basic faucet body. When it comes out of the mold, it's rough, surface imperfections everywhere, casting flash along the mold lines and internal water passages that are closed off and need to be opened up. That's what the machining stage is for.
CNC machining centers go to work on the rough casting with precision cutting tools, drilling the internal water passages to exact dimensions, threading all the connection points, boring out the valve seat where the cartridge will sit, and surfacing everything that needs to be flat and smooth. The tolerances here are tight because water sealing depends entirely on precision fit between components. Even small dimensional errors cause leaks, and a leaking faucet is a failed product. After machining, the body gets flushed clean of every metal chip and trace of cutting fluid because any contamination left in those internal passages causes problems the moment water starts flowing. Surface finishing transforms the raw machined brass into something you'd actually want in your bathroom. The body gets polished first, starting with abrasive compounds that remove machining marks, then progressively finer compounds that build a smooth, reflective base. Then chrome plating. The polished body goes through an electroplaning process where a layer of chrome gets deposited onto the surface through an electrochemical reaction, creating that mirror-like finish that's become the standard look for most bathroom hardware. Other finishes like brushed nickel or matte black each need different surface preparation, but they all start from the same polished base. Assembly follows. The valve cartridge goes into the valve seat, sealing rings and gaskets go in at every connection point. The handle mechanism gets attached and adjusted. Aerators and flow restrictors get fitted. Any faucet that shows even the slightest leak goes back for rework. No exceptions. Units that pass get their handles, decorative trim, and remaining components fitted, then carefully packaged with all the installation hardware and instructions. 3 factories. 3 completely different products. 3 manufacturing processes that share almost nothing in common with each other. But here's the one thing they all have in common. Every single one of them is far more complex, far more precise, and far more interesting than you ever would have guessed just from looking at the finished object. That pan on your stove, that cap by your door, that faucet you turned on this morning. If you enjoyed this video, hit like, share it with someone who'd find this fascinating, and subscribe for more factory deep dives. We'll see you in the next one.